All right, well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. My name is Kevin, and we are here to check out the 2020 Hyundai Kona SEL Premium. So it's like the top of the line, regular four-cylinder Kona. And who do we have to thank for this little opportunity? It is none other than Capital Mazda of Cary in North Carolina. And special thanks to Will Rodden. He is the sales associate that helps out with these reviews. So all this information will be in the description box below. Back to the Kona. Now, Hyundais are pretty hard for me to get. So when they had this 2020, I was pretty excited. And I really wanted to try this out because I had tested out all of the Kia Souls. The turbo, the regular four-cylinder, and I really like the Kia Soul. However, Hyundais are typically a little bit more comfortable, a little bit quieter, a little bit more refined. So I was really hoping that this would be similar to the Kia Soul, however, you know, a better driving version of it, right? A little bit more of a refined version. Let's see here. Chucking that in there. Yeah, the Hyundai truly is far more refined than the Kia counterparts. This is a much more smoother experience, and I actually said this about the 2020 Elantra, which I came here to review as well. And so far, Kona is proving to be pretty good. So let's take this out on some more rougher roads and see what's up with it. First of all, the Kona looks pretty, you know, it is what it is, you know. Just one of those little small SUV things that they're just trying to capitalize off of just to make some money, and that's fine. As long as the product is good, I really don't care, because that's kind of the trend nowadays. Nobody really wants a sedan anymore. Everybody wants an SUV for the higher ride height, which truly does help. It does make it easier to get in and out of. Hyundai did design this to be superior in terms of driving dynamics. You know, driving fun is something that they tout with this vehicle. That was one of their primary goals. Usually that's Kia's job. They try to be that more fun, playful, you know what I'm saying, counterpart to Hyundai. But the Kona, they wanted it to be like kind of like, you know, their special little subcompact SUV thing, I guess. Because it's the SEL, it's actually fitted with the regular four-cylinder engine, producing about 147 horsepower and 132 pounds-feet of torque. Once you go to the limited and the ultimate trim levels, you get an option of the turbo engine. So the turbo engine, I do like the engine itself. However, that vehicle is mated to the dual clutch, which I've driven the dual clutch multiple times with the Kia products, and honestly, it was very jerky. I was not a huge fan of it, very unpredictable. But this particular Kona actually comes with a 6-speed automatic. Usually the Kia counterparts, they came with a CVT actually, or an IVT as they call it, and that is tremendous. It is excellent. But I have to say, this 6-speed automatic is doing an excellent job. It is extremely smooth, and I'm glad that's a 6-speed and not some 8-speed or anything like that, because there's no gear hunting. It knows exactly what gear to be in. When you floor it, it doesn't have too many gears to drop down, if you will. These things usually weigh about 2,800 to 3,200 pounds. And that depends on if you get all-wheel drive or not. Now, all-wheel drive is very important with this vehicle because the regular front-wheel drive versions, like you see here with this particular model, actually get a torsion beam rear suspension. However, the all-wheel drive models get a multi-link rear suspension. So they tried to make that a little bit more, if you will, off-roady, and they wanted to have that, you know, more cushy ride. I don't know really what they're going for, but I do know a multi-link is going to ride better in the rear. This right now, over some of these rougher roads, is doing tremendous, so I really like that. Hyundais have done a great job there. The Elantra was phenomenal at ride quality, so this is kind of continuing to give you a very soft ride. This is, honestly, in a lot of ways, this is like a more refined Toyota, if you will. It's a four-cylinder, but when you step out in this vehicle, you don't hear a lot of the four-cylinder nonsense whining sounds like you do in the Toyota products. It's quieter, it's more refined, it's more comfortable, actually. When you floor it in this car, there's not too many gears to go down, and it's not an awe-inspiring amount of power, but you keep your foot down into it, it'll give you what you need, honestly. I did feel like the Elantra was surprisingly a little bit more peppier with this same power plant, but that probably weighed a little bit less or whatever, and just it's a little bit more touchy. This has a more floaty feel, if you will, to everything really. The brake pedal, the ride quality, like there's just a little bit more float to it, like a little bit more pitch, dive, whatever you want to call that type of sensation. It's not particularly bad, it's just something I had to get used to with this vehicle, but it's just something I noticed. Throttle can be surprisingly touchy. but we're about to test out that handling here in a little bit. You know, they made a lot of chassis developments, if you will. They try to make this a great driving vehicle, right? So they made the chassis a little bit stiffer. You do have a manual mode, no paddles, but you do have this little thing in the side. This gear knob is shaped like a manual transmission. This would be great with a manual, but I don't think they come with that. But you have the option of shifting on your own if you want. Another thing, with either engine, either the Turbo 4 or this like non-turbo 4, you'll get phenomenal gas mileage. Some guy had a Forte, he was getting like 40 mpg in that thing, like pretty much city driving is what he said he mostly did. So, you know, these things are very efficient if you're not like a pig with the throttle pedal. So that's another massive highlight to these Hyundai Kia 4-cylinder vehicles. They're just super fuel efficient. It's just like there's no need for hybrids and all that nonsense. It's just such a fuel sipper, and all these engines take regular gasoline, so that's good. It's going to auto upshift, of course. Yeah, really nicely done. Steering is really light. This chassis is actually surprisingly rigid for what this is. Far more than I think the Elantras and the Kia Soul. I think this has a more rigid chassis system, so that's very good. This is surprisingly a little bit more direct in terms of its driving feel. I like the weight of the steering as well. Yeah, this should be enough to satisfy most. I think most importantly though, what impresses me is just the refinement of it. I said this about the Santa Fe. I had the new 2020 Santa Fe as well, and I swear to you that might have been quieter and more comfortable, even more than the Lexus RX. This is just, you know, it's not that level, but like it does have a great ride quality for a vehicle of this class. It's exuding like entry-level luxury car demeanors, and that's the highest praise I can give this thing. Driving-wise, I mean, all the things I don't really like about it, well, it's more so has to do with the interior segment, but driving-wise, I don't really think there's much strangeness with it. No, it's not the fastest thing in the world. You do have to put your foot down into it to get the most thrust out of it, which is fine by me, but the handling is smooth. Everything is fluid with this car. Driving wise, this is a pleasure. It's a treat. I think this is like a superior Toyota in a lot of ways. You know, they try to be that comfortable, quiet, you know, nice, relaxed daily driver, but this is actually doing a better job than that. So these are some terrible roads I'm on too. Like I mentioned, the brakes are really progressive as well. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and let's talk about this. After this pull, let's go ahead and talk about this interior. So the interior, I don't personally hate it, but it's just like there's a lot more hard touch plastics being used, and that's fine. You see that a lot in this segment of vehicle, but at least it's well put together. You know, it might not be like a Mazda in terms of, you know, excellent materials being used, but again, it doesn't cost as much as the Mazda, and it has a lot of the refinement that Mazda shares. But yeah, it is a lot more scratchy, hard touch plastics. But the thing that grinds me most is actually the cheap kind of plastic window switches that they use. That's really lame. I hate that. Toyota doesn't even do that. They, you know, almost all the manufacturers have a superior window switch thing that they use, like window switch supplier. These feel very plasticky, very cheap. So that's really the interior component that I dislike the most. But you do get auto one touch up and down for the front two windows here, but the rear you just have to like roll them up yourself electronically. So there's that. You know, this being the higher trim 4-cylinder, you do get like that Infinity 8-speaker audio system, which sounds okay. It's not like the best thing in the world, but it's far better than some entry-level system, I guess. But it's nothing to brag and boast about. The rest of it, I do love the simplicity of the cabin. You know, I've always said this about Hyundai Kia ergonomics. It's some of the best, actually. Everything is easy to get to, easy to understand, easy to learn. There's really nothing to learn, actually. You get in here, you know how to use everything, and that's what I love most about these vehicles. It has like the best ergonomics ever, the best infotainment. I'm sure this does have the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto with this little screen right here. It is just kind of posted up here like a little plastic Fisher-Price toy, but no matter, it's here, it works. It's the same thing you see in pretty much all the Hyundai Kia products. Steering wheel, I love this leather trimmed steering wheel. It's a great size. I love the little indents to it. It's a nice shape. Love that. It's kind of Audi-like, if you will. And you have all the controls that you need on the steering wheel, like the volume controls, the track selection. You can easily go through your gauge cluster menu, which is all the same Kia Hyundai stuff that you've been getting for the past couple of years now. You have plenty of little storage cubby space things here. Again, it's all hard touch plastic, but you have a nice little place to put your phone. It is also a wireless charger. Don't expect to charge your phone like extremely fast or anything like that, but you know, it is there and you can at least put your phone there. USB ports, that'll charge your phone up extremely quickly. And decent amount of space in the center armrest right here, so that's pretty good. I will say the seating position, you know, it's you sit higher up in this thing, like you're kind of sitting on top of the vehicle, but as far as blind spots and everything, you know, it's a more of a compact SUV, so it's very easy to drive and place out on the road, so that's pretty good. Now that we are stopped here, you have a nice little physical handbrake thing, which is great to see. A lot of cars are ditching that right now. Climate control, very simple, very old school, easy to set up. It's completely separated from the screen, so that's fantastic. And you do get heated seats for the front two seats here. This vehicle, on the sticker of this thing, it does say that it's a front-wheel drive vehicle. However, it has like this hill descent control type button here. This thing is very smooth riding, so I'm not sure if it does have all-wheel drive or not. I would have to sit in the back and see how it rides, but yeah, this is a very smooth ride. I mean, yeah, I get it, like all the Hyundai Kia cars, even with the torsion beam, do ride really well for what they are, but this is just really smooth. So I don't know, I don't think it's the all-wheel drive. It doesn't say so on the sticker, but it's got a little button right here. Two little cup holder things here, like I mentioned. The center armrest is a decent size, kind of like far back, but whatever, at least it's there. Glove box, you know, I got that filled with all the books, of course, and the door pocket space is extremely accommodating. I do like that. And these Hyundai Kia cars, they get all the safety sense stuff. Like there's a few that you get as standard, like blind spot monitoring, the lane keep assist, forward collision braking assist. You get that as standard in pretty much all these cars, even the base model, so that's great for amateur drivers. You have a sunroof in this particular model, and I think the most kind of confining thing about this particular body style is the rear legroom. I think the Kia Soul had a lot more legroom than this, but obviously I'm 5'11". Even though I'm 5'11", I do sit a little bit closer to the steering wheel, so I can sit perfectly behind myself because of that. But taller individuals might struggle, but the headroom is great in this car. That's not an issue, even in the back seat, so that's good. And it's got like these nice little cloth seats, actually, with this houndstooth design material in the middle here, which I don't mind because it's going to be very easy to keep up with, and it's reasonably comfortable as well, so that's good. Everything has a nice sturdy feel to it, like it's all put together nicely, so I do appreciate that. It's got the automatic headlights. Yeah, pretty good. Now, as far as the trunk space goes, trunk space is really good. You can lift up the little cover thing, and there is actually a spare tire back there as well, so practically I do like that trunk. And you can definitely fit adults in the back. That's not an issue. And overall, there's a lot of little, you know, storage, cubby spaces, all that good stuff. Very ergonomic, easy to get to. You have upgraded audio with this particular model that's sitting here. You have the optional premium Infinity audio system, the 8-speaker one, with this particular model that's here at Capital Mazda. It is that fully loaded 4-cylinder model, like I mentioned. So that pretty much does it for the Hyundai Kona review. Very similar to the Elantra, obviously. They do a lot of great things here. You know, it's just a phenomenal daily driver, or even a first car, if you will. It's on the cheaper side of things. They always undercut the competition, and they offer a really refined vehicle, and that's why I love these cars. So I was very happy to check one out. Hopefully you found value with it. You can check out Capital Mazda's information down in the description box below. Thank you again for watching. Take care, and goodbye.